There's something about Thunderbolts that really bothered me, and I know it might sound petty, but why is it that Valentina Allegra de Fontaine looks like Tulsi Gabbard and even President Coin from the Hunger Games? Why the hell would they bow to her when she's not even scary or intimidating?
So adorable.
Thunderbolts gave me goosebumps. It's been forever since I had a goosebumps watching a Marvel movie. I think the last time was Spider-Man No Way Home, when the three Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield were jumping around New York City. And before that, it was Avengers Endgame when all the superheroes came back to life.
On your left.
Which says a lot about how impactful certain scenes were. The first moment happened when Bob was unexpectedly shot. Just as it seemed like he was about to go down for good, something amazing happened. He began to levitate. Then, to everybody's surprise, he took a flight. The whole scene was intensified by the booming Dolby Atmos sound system in the theater. The music didn't stop. It kept swelling in the background, creating a sense of awe and emotional buildup. The combination of the visuals, the shock of what was happening, and the immersive sound design gave me a full-body chills. It was a perfect cinematic moment. The second goosebump moment came when Bucky Barnes appeared to help.
Is that Bucky?
Though it wasn't exactly dramatic entrance or a typical rescue, it was more subtle but still powerful. I remember seeing the trailer and feeling unsure about how Bucky would fit into the story. I was a bit skeptical about the tone of the film, but once I saw the final version, I was genuinely impressed. The way his scene played out felt natural, not forced or overhyped, and the sound design again played a huge role in building the emotion of the moment. It all came together really well. To my surprise, Thunderbolts far exceeded my expectations. And I'll be honest, going into it, I wasn't exactly a fan of most of the characters. Yelena, Bucky Barnes, Red Guardian, Ghost, and especially US Agent, who always felt like a knockoff of Captain America, just didn't excite me the way other Marvel heroes have. Even after watching the trailer, I didn't get the usual adrenaline rush or excitement that Marvel movies often spark. I went in with a pretty low expectation, thinking it would be just another filler entry in the MCU. But after watching the film, I have to admit, it completely changed my perspective. The storytelling, character development, and emotional weight of the film were way beyond what I had anticipated.
And I don't have purpose.
The action scenes were solid, the dynamics between the team members were compelling, and the tone was surprisingly mature. It felt less like a typical Marvel movie and more like a grounded, gritty team-up filmed with real stakes. Honestly, this might just be one of Marvel's best recent movies, and that's coming from someone who didn't think they'd care about any of these characters going on. One of the scenes I really enjoyed was the fight involving Bob. It had a scale and intensity of classic Avengers battle, but with a different kind of energy. It felt like a real team of grounded, human heroes rather than superpowered beings. What stood out most was how physical and hands-on the combat was. Unlike the original Avengers, especially the team led by Captain America, who often relied on advanced technology, flashing special effects, and CGI-heavy sequences, the Thunderbolts showcased raw, close-quarter fightings. It also became clear that they were no match for Sentry, which actually made sense because at the end of the day, they're just humans. That's what sets them apart. These characters rely on combat training, tactical instincts, and teamwork rather than superhuman powers. That made the fights feel more grounded and intense, like they had something to prove and were giving it everything they had. The hand-to-hand combat skills, especially the martial arts elements, made them feel more relatable and more human. Florence Pugh as Yelena is as brilliant as always. We already know she's a powerhouse actress who brings charm, strength, and nuance to every role. But surprisingly, Thunderbolts isn't really her movie. It's Bob's story.
You were all sent?
And Louis Pullman completely owns it. He caught me totally off guard. I didn't expect much from his character going in, but he delivered a performance that genuinely moved me. Louis Pullman brings so much depth and emotion to Bob that you can feel everything that the character is going through, not just through his words, but his expression, especially his eyes. There's a quiet sadness, a sense of internal chaos, and a vulnerability that makes him feel more incredibly human, even though he possesses near godlike powers. What's even more interesting is that Stephen Yeun was originally cast for the role, but had to leave due to scheduling conflicts. Looking back though, Marvel made the right call. Louis Pullman might not have been the obvious choice, but he turned out to be the perfect one. His portrayal adds layer of the emotional complexity to the film, making Sentry not just a powerful figure, but a tragic and relatable one. Marvel absolutely nailed it with this casting decision. But there's something about Thunderbolts that really bothered me, and I know it might sound petty, but why is it that Valentina Allegra de Fontaine looks like Tuzzy Gubbard and even President Coin of the Hunger Games?
Look at you. So adorable.
Why the hell would they bow to her when she's not even scary or intimidating? In the MCU, she's played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and one thing that stands out is her distinctive white streak of hair at the front. I couldn't help but wonder if this was just a coincidence. Why does her hair look like that? After digging a bit deeper, I found out that this look actually comes from the comics where Valentina also has a white hair. What caught my attention even more is that there are similarities between her and President Coin from the Hunger Games. It's not just about the hair, but also their ambiguous political loyalties. Like President Coin, Valentina seems to be working for the right cause, helping the resistance, but there's always that nagging question, is she really on the right side of good? President Coin started off as a hero, aiding Katniss and the people, but later revealed her true hunger for power. In the comics, Valentina comes from a rebellious family. Her parents were resistant fighters who were killed for standing up against oppressive regimes. The MCU might be diving into this backstory, hinting that Valentina's distrust of authority and her career intelligence could have been shaped by a difficult childhood. As for Tuzzy, I'll leave that for you to figure out if you made it this far.
Recurred to me over and over and over, and it is first female president. Now you've crossed over.
But you might wonder, why do the Thunderbolts even follow Valentina? She doesn't have superpowers, she's not physically threatening, and let's be honest, she doesn't exactly come off as intimidating. In fact, by superhero standard, she seems pretty powerless.
The American people safe.
But that's exactly where her strength lies. Valentina isn't really a fighter. She's a master manipulator. Think of her as a darker, morally gray version of Nick Fury. She knows how to read people, exploit their weaknesses, and use just the right amount of pressure to keep them in the right lane. She doesn't need the team to like her or even trust her. All she needs is control. In MCU, Valentina holds a high-ranking position, either with CIA or government agency, which gives her the authority to assemble and command Thunderbolts. They're not just a group of outcasts, they're a government-sanctioned team. That means Valentina controls their missions, their funding, and possibly their freedom. For many of them, following her isn't about loyalty, it's about necessity. She operates from behind the scenes, using influence and intelligence, not strength. And in a world where power usually comes from superhuman abilities, Valentina proves that information, leverage, and strategy can be just as dangerous, if not more so. Have you watched Thunderbolts? Did you enjoy it too? Like I said, I didn't really expect it to be that good, but it completely exceeded my expectations. For me, it's one of the best Marvel movies to date. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.